Alright, so this is a quick tutorial on how to migrate from Namecheap private email hosting over to G Suite. Now this is very low budget here. I don't have my camera set up or anything fancy. And this is just kind of me going off the top of my head with the migrations I've done before. But I figured I'd create this and make it unlisted for those of you who have been asking. So here we have G Suite. Now the first thing we're going to do is set up the trial. So we'll just click Get Started. And I'll just put in the domain that I'm migrating, just me. And it's going to ask for... Now, you're going to put your first and last name. Under current email address, put the custom email that you're trying to transfer. If you've got several, like you're maybe a corporation and you've got, employee@domain.com, just put the main one here that you want to be the admin. So whether it's info@admin@, whatever it is, this should be a custom domain email address, but it can be kind of the top level or like the master email address that will control everything else. So just click Next. Yes, I do have a domain. Started to type Krayler there. Okay, yeah, I want to use this domain to set up the account and click Next. Okay, secondary email. Now this is usually the recovery email address, so if you get locked out of your G Suite account, they're going to send instructions to this email. So I'll just put my YouTube email. And I'd like my username to be the same, hello@krayler.media. Just going to create a password here. I highly recommend randomly generating a password, but since this is just a quick demo, I'm just going to put a password that I know. And I'm going to agree and continue. Now this is a 14-day free trial, but Google does require you to put in a card number in order to start the trial. And there's one important thing to note. Okay, it's going to have a sign in here. The important thing to note is that by default, they put you on the $12 a month plan for G Suite. I'll get back to that in a minute. It looks like we are required to put in a text code here, so I'm going to make sure I block out my number. Okay, I'm going to accept the terms of service. All right, so this is what I was talking about here. By default, with the trial, they force you on the $12 a month plan. I personally use the $6 a month plan, and the really only main difference in practical terms is the $12 a month plan gives you 1 terabyte of Google Drive storage. The $6 a month plan gives you 30 gigabytes. So if you need that extra drive space, it's actually not a bad deal to pay $12 a month, because on a free Gmail account, they charge you $10 a month to have a terabyte of drive space. So to pay $12 a month and have a terabyte plus G Suite and the email hosting, it's not a bad deal, but I'm just going to stick with the $6 a month plan. But as you can see here, we're forced to start with the $12 a month plan. So you will want to remember to go in and downgrade the plan, and I will show you how to do that. But on the next screen here, we're going to have to enter the card number. So I'm just going to skip this step for obvious reasons, and I will catch you guys on the next page. All right, here we are on the next page, and now Google is going to want us to verify our email address, get the records switched over, the mail records, and then I will show you how to migrate the data. So this is a technical process here, but it's not too bad. If you did use Namecheap private email hosting and you set that up, I hope it won't be too difficult for you and you're able to follow along. So I'm just going to click Continue to Setup. Okay, welcome to the admin console. Next. Okay, so first we're going to verify the domain name. So I'm going to click Verify. Now this is where things are going to start to differ depending on how your domain name is set up. I use Cloudflare for DNS management. I've made a video about that, and I'll have a link to that about why I use Cloudflare, how to set up Cloudflare. But this is going to differ a little bit based on your DNS setup. So if you recall setting up private email hosting and you entered some kind of records, if you can remember that, you would have to go to that place, whether it's your domain company or your web host, wherever you enter your DNS records, you'll need to go there and make that change. So for me, that's Cloudflare. Now, if you have your web hosting with Namecheap as well, there's a good chance that they probably just did this for you. And that's when it gets a little complicated. You're going to have to ask Namecheap, where do I edit my DNS records? Because there's a chance that you didn't even have to do that setup. But hopefully you're able to follow along here. So these are my records from Namecheap private email hosting. Step one is to let Google know we own this domain. We have access to be doing this. So we go back to G Suite. They give us this text verification. So I click continue. And they give us this text record. So all we need to do is copy this. And in fact, they even kind of give us instructions here. So they may be able to detect what DNS system you're using and help you out with that. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to click add record. And I'm going to select TXT. And I'm going to put @ because this is for the root domain. And just paste the text record and click save. So this lets Google actually look up our domain name, see that this record is here, and go, oh, okay. Well, if they're listing that text record, then that's clearly the owner. So I'm going to go back here and click verify my domain. Hopefully for you, it's instant. Cloudflare typically updates instantly. But you'll see here it says 1 hour remaining. You might be like, what the heck? I think what's going on is Google is just automatically checking every minute or 30 seconds for the next hour. Because they figure, yeah, maybe it's going to take some time. So you may have to come back to this screen. You may definitely have to leave it and check back. And I don't think it's going to hurt to close the tab. Like if you have to sleep and continue the next day, I think you should be fine to do that. And actually, this is taking a bit longer than it took me for my recent migration from my main email. So I will be back when it's done. I'm back, and as soon as I stopped that last recording, it finished. So this is literally like 60 seconds later. Our domain name is verified. It took us right out to this screen here. So now I'm going to click create new users. I actually may skip this if I don't need to create another user. Yeah, so in this case, I just have my own email address and that's all I want. If you are a corporation and you did have multiple emails with Namecheap private email, you go ahead and create those accounts here. I don't need to do that because I already have my one user created, so it's going to take me back to this screen. Now we really get to the fun DNS records here. So I'm going to click activate on activate Gmail. I'm going to check the disclosures, and this is telling you as soon as you make this switch, emails are going to be going to G Suite immediately, and they're no longer going to go to private emails. So make sure you're ready to make that switch when you go through these steps. I'm going to click continue. And again, they are giving us some instructions on records to enter. So first they're saying delete all your old MX records. Now, once you delete your old MX records, you want to make sure you get your new ones in as fast as you can. Don't rush, don't stress over it, but don't delete your MX records and decide, hey, that's a good time to stop for today and I'll pick up tomorrow, because then you're not going to receive email anywhere. So make sure if you start step 4, you go right into step 5. So I'm going to go to Cloudflare here and delete all the records that private email creates. So that is this one, this auto config, the CNAME, that can be deleted. Auto discover, that's a private email record. I'm going to delete that. These two MX records, those are private email. So I'm going to delete those. This SRV, private email, anything that says private email, you can go delete. And this text record is private email as well. So now I'm going to go back to this tab. And first we start with this one here, this record. And it says priority of 1. So all we do is we go here, we do add record, MX record, and these records, at least this part, we're going to do at on all of these. This part is the same for everybody. So you could literally type this word for word, letter for letter, and copy it from this tutorial, and you're going to put in the same exact record here. So we did the first one. Now we repeat that step 4 more times with these 4 records. And the only thing to pay attention to is the priority. But we're going to enter at on all of them. So we go here, add record, MX record, at. Paste it. Priority is 5 on this one. That's the second one. So we go to the third one, copy it, add the record, MX, at, paste it. Priority is 5. Now on the last 2, the priority is 10. It's the only difference there. So see here, MX, at, paste it. Priority is 10. And we do that for the 4th one as well. Copy it, add record, MX, at, paste it. Priority is 10. And click save. So once we've done that, you can review your DNS records. It should look something like this. You should have 5 total MX records, and they should match this exactly. So once you've done that and you're feeling like you did it, you can click Activate Gmail, and it's just going to scan and go through and check your domain, make sure that the records are there. This might take a couple minutes. It may take a couple hours. Again, it just depends on the DNS system you use. Cloudflare updates instantly. Really is a great DNS system. So now we're done. I'm going to say skip for now because we don't need to create more users in our case. So I'm going to click skip for now. And that's it. Gmail is activated for give me some .credit. So you can try sending a test email if you'd like. Sure, why not? And what I can do is just click go to Gmail down here. They make that nice and convenient. And here we are. I can see the test email. And here's where you go, oh, wait a second. Where are all my emails from my last host? Well, we have to move those over. Those obviously aren't going to just kind of come with you without you migrating them. And the process is a little bit wonky. It's a little bit strange. Not exactly the most intuitive, but it's not hard. So just follow these steps here to initiate that migration, and your data will be moved over quick enough. So I'm going to click this little hamburger menu and click Home and go to Data Migration. Set data migration up. So for migration source, we're going to click Other IMAP Server. Email is what we're migrating. We can just say IMAP. And for IMAP server address, this is mail.privateemail.com. Username is your email address. The password is whatever your password is for private email. So I'm going to go and paste that in. Okay, now I'm going to click Start. All right, I am going to make sure that I get all of my data here. So, past year, you may think that's the most you can migrate, but you can do custom date and you can select a ridiculous date range. I just go back to like 2000. I mean, why not, right? Like June, or to satisfy my OCD, January. January 1st, 2000. I mean, that's going to get all your email. I personally like to migrate deleted and junk email. That's a little quirky. You don't have to do that, but I like to take everything over just so it's exactly the same as what it was before I moved. And now I'm going to click select users. Now this is where it gets goofy and kind of confusing. It's like, well, wait, now what do I do? Well, for each email you have to click this add user button, and you have to like enter the info again. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand it. I think it's because if you have multiple email addresses with private email hosting, you could start a migration for every user. I know for myself, since I just have one email, all I do is enter my source email, enter that private email hosting password, and then enter my G Suite email and click it, and I click start. Now, I will warn you, this takes forever. Like, it really takes forever. I've only got about 4 emails in this inbox. I don't really use it, which is why I'm using it for this demo. So it may not take forever for me. I mean, it might take 5 minutes, but really, I don't have all that much data even in my main business email, but it took a couple hours. And I have done a migration for a corporation before. They had like 50 emails that I had to migrate, and it took, I want to say, all day. I mean, it will take a while. It runs on island time. It takes its sweet time. But the great thing is you don't need to leave this tab open. You're not going to mess anything up by sending or receiving email from G Suite while this process takes place. So you can just kind of go about your life, and your data will just magically be migrated over. And you can come back to here at any time and check the status, so it's all just running in the background and sucking the data over. But don't think it's broken when it takes a couple hours or even a day, because it really does take time. So while this is happening, I'm going to show you how to downgrade your plan to the $6 a month plan if that's something that you want to do. Then we'll come back and check on the status of this. But I'm going to go back to this hamburger menu here and go back to home. I'm going to go to billing. And then right here where it says G Suite Business, under Actions, I'm going to click this, and I'm going to say Downgrade to G Suite Basic. And they're basically going to tell you, okay, here's what you're missing out on. Wouldn't you like to pay another $6 a month and have all these benefits? Personally, I don't. If you do, that's awesome, and you don't have to do this step. But I'm going to click Downgrade to G Suite Basic. They're going to have all this fluff and random screens to go through. Yeah, I agree to the terms that I'm not going to read, that it's a mile long of legal jargon. And that's it. So now you're on G Suite Basic, $6 a month, all the benefits of G Suite, just with less Google Drive space. And that's it. So we can go back at any time, and we can go to home and go to data migration and check on the status. Yeah, this is going quick. It'll be done in a few minutes here. But one thing to note is this admin panel is really intimidating, and it's overkill for just a single user, because G Suite really is designed for corporations who have hundreds, if not thousands, of email addresses. They have to manage, whole departments that everyone needs an email address, and so it's a really powerful platform. You can go in and go into security, and you can set all these defaults and rules and crazy wacky stuff on like different policies and different security procedures that will be followed by every email within your domain name. Really, if you just leave it alone, if you're by yourself and you aren't a geek and you don't really care to get into that stuff, you can just leave it alone and everything will function fine. But if you wanted to get into the crazy security settings and you like to tinker around, you might really enjoy G Suite and you might enjoy playing around. So I can see here status is 83%. I noticed that I have 6 emails in my inbox. Yeah, so all my emails from my inbox were already migrated. We have all these new emails that I'm just going to delete. But this is what's in private email. So if I go over here to private email, oh, that's interesting. It caught some of the initial stuff from G Suite. But this is it. I just have 3 emails in my inbox. And I go here and my 3 emails are in the inbox. So all the data moves over and that's it. You're using G Suite. Now you can set up 2-factor authentication or literally anything you could do with a standard Gmail account, you can do with G Suite, and you're ready to rock and roll. Now, as I pointed out with the DNS, that is going to be the step that varies the most. The migration process will be identical as long as you're moving from Namecheap private email hosting. You can copy what I did exactly. But this DNS process is going to differ a little bit depending on what DNS system you use. So I'm sorry I can't, have a crystal ball and know exactly how that's going to go for you. Hopefully you don't have too much trouble figuring that out. But as long as you're able to figure out where these DNS records are located, ask your web host or your domain registrar if you're not sure. They should be able to help you out with that. Once you figure out this and you get these records in, it really isn't hard. So hopefully that's helped you migrate from Namecheap private email hosting over to G Suite. If you like this video, make sure you're subscribed, and I will catch you guys in the next one.